I'm Svetlin, and it's pleasure for me to show you how you can vibe code your next app if you have a startup or something you work on or idea. In one weekend is if it's something bigger, and maybe less time if it's something simple like, for example, implementing job portal or job listings or something like this with database, with admin panel, with traditional functionality. It's quite easy now, and these models are evolving and evolving. And because I teach this AI first development at SoftUni, I'm amazed how fast this is becoming better and better, this technology, the vibe coding technology. So I'm Svetlin, I'm a software engineer, educator, trainer, speaker, entrepreneur on many tech projects and author of books before the AI era. Now I no longer write books because it doesn't have the same value. And I have several very successful tech startups, like the first National Academy for Software Development. Then I was the co-founder of the Telerik Software Academy, and then the biggest one, the SoftUni, which has already more than 35,000 graduates who work in the software industry. Nearly 1/3 of the software industry in Bulgaria is attended one or more of my trainings at SoftUni. We have a high school as well, and SoftUni AI is my latest project, which I work on the last 3 years. The first training I was in 2023 when there was ChatGPT 3, and we were teaching, this is, guys, the future. Oh, now ChatGPT, it will write everything. And later it really started to write everything, including to take our jobs as software engineers. And this really happens, not everywhere, not all the time, but for example, I know companies who closed here in Sofia their front-end division entirely because of vibe coding, because of things that I will show you today. So I will start with a demo. Before talking, I want to show you. So if you open bolt.new, this is one of the tools for vibe coding which are very popular in the latest few months. And I write something small. This is a very small prompt. Usually prompts should be longer, more well written, etc., etc. But the idea is here, create a simple long calculator where I write the sum for my credit, the interest rate, and the number of months for my repayment schedule. And this is what has happened. I will show you this live. So I have account of both new. If you don't have it, you can register. And be prepared that the free version will not work quite well because it takes tokens, and Anthropics have a huge multi-billion loans and investments, and they want to make money, and they do it, but still the balance is not quite good. And what happens now? I sent an AI prompt, just like in ChatGPT or Gemini, for example. And we have an AI dev agent, an agent who makes a plan and does a multi-step software development series of actions. First, it created some code. If some of you are developers, they may be familiar with this. This is standard React project based on TypeScript, etc., etc., etc. But you don't touch the code. This tool is designed especially for business users, which means that people who are founders, wanna-be entrepreneurs, or just idea testers, or just students, for example. And you can vibe code anything. For example, you can vibe code a portal about selling cars, for example, like auto.de, mobile.de. Quite more simple, but I can vibe code similar portal in 2 hours. Sometimes you have bugs. This tool is not perfect, but this is vibe coded. What happened? It vibe coded a React component which has a front end, and that is entirely front end app without a database. I will test. For example, I have 3% interest rate within 60 months repayment schedule, and that is my payment plan. This is quite simple, and in fact, this works also in ChatGPT and other tools. But I'll show you later more complicated software, like, for example, creating an app which has users, which has database, which have shows objects on a map geographically, etc., 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 to show you that this is not limited to just so simple prompts, and you can build more complex apps, but not too complex with it. So what is vibe coding? Vibe coding is a new term, something new which was invented in February this year by Andrei Karpathy, former OpenAI, let's say, the one of the brains there. So now we are in a new era in software development. We already are there, and if someone who still lives in the old era, he will either lose his job or his competitors will be faster than him, and bad days come. So you either should learn vibe coding or you're out of business. This, if you are in technology, of course. If you are in some businesses, things work differently. But yeah, we are in a new era of software development, and vibe coding is one of the tools which enable you to create products quite faster than before and quite cheaper. You can create apps which usually take months in few days or in few hours if you are experienced. So building apps with AI prompts was something which was not quite popular 1 year ago when I started to do this because it was not working well. It was working partially. Now it works very well and continues to improve and to improve and to improve. For example, in my lessons, I usually give an example. See the limits of this technology. If I write this, it will fail. And 1 month later, they issue a next version of software, and my example no longer works. Like the hallucinations in chatbots. It's quite hard to find an example of hallucination in ChatGPT 5. For example, it's not impossible, but it's not so easy like before. So the other thing is the AI-assisted software development. The difference is that vibe coding is that you create software without seeing the code. You are not aware that there is a code behind. And AI-assisted software development is for developers, for engineers who write code, who read the code, who make critiques about the code and suggest changes to the AI. And this is a collaboration. So vibe coding is the AI creates the software, you gives directions. AI-assisted software development is software engineer together with the AI create software faster, and this is the hobby style of working, and this is the professional way of working. And the other ways of working are not recommended, they are legacy. So why this is important for startups? Because we are at a startup conference now, it changes everything, especially if you want to build a not sophisticated startup which includes technology. For example, you need a mobile app or web app or some small thing that which makes something. It entirely changes the startup landscape, and my information is that more than 90% of the startups now use vibe coding. In February, this was 75% according to Y Combinator, and I believe they are aware of what happens better than me. So non-tech founders now can build MVPs themselves. And this is so easy that you can give this tool to your mom and she will build software. Really. Without even people who are don't have good computer literacy. Even such people can build software. My kids are building now games with this tool. So it's definitely for non-tech founders who want to build MVPs and want to uh, test their ideas. So building an MVPs usually takes months and lots of money in the past, and that was one of the reasons why here in Sofia we had so much software company. But this is that business, the outsourcing, these startups to have technical office in Bulgaria and brain office in the US. This no longer works. So we should build products, not code, because now the code, writing code is machine level problem. It's not human level problem, no longer. So focus on the product, not the code, and follow the proven concepts of startup industry, like taking an idea, making market research with AI. Now, inventing ideas with AI. Of course, creating a good value propositions with AI, working on the business model with AI, creating an MVP with vibe coding, of course, with AI, and finding a product market fit. This is not entirely by AI, but could be assisted by AI. And in the growth, I wish all of you to become at the growth stage and work on the other problems. But now building software is fast and cheap. No longer you need an army of developers. No longer it takes a lot of money because writing software is expensive. And now it's faster to build software to do some small job instead of doing this job by hand. So what happens? This means that software costs and software limitations are no longer stoppers to test your ideas. You can iterate quite faster than inventing an idea, vibe coding an app, testing on the market with some group of possible users, and etc. So AI, there are lots of AI app builder platforms, and I will focus now on the non-professional platforms, which are designed for hobby users, for hobbyists, not for professionals. For software engineers, the tools are different and they do different job. They do AI-assisted software development. But I now will talk about fully automated software development without technical skills. There are lots of platforms like Bolt, Lovable, Replit, Firebase Studio, Vizero, Create, and many others. There are new ones appear from time to time, and this happens constantly. So we have plenty of vibe coding platforms. They are called also AI automated development tools, and we have platforms like Bolt and Lovable, which I will show you, which I already make the demo about this. They are simplified, they are in-browser, cloud-based, and you don't install anything. You just take your phone sometimes, or your laptop, this is the better way, and you build and publish apps in minutes. You build, you publish, and it works. So this is something which you can create in minutes. And there are professional software platforms like Cursor, like Augmentcode, like Quadcode, like Codex, like GitHub Copilot, which are locally installed, more sophisticated, more powerful, and you have more control. So if you are a developer, the second choice is for you. If you are a technical person, or QA, or someone who makes difference between front end, back end, and API. If API doesn't mean anything meaningful for you, you are for these hobby platforms, right? So in fact, you can build software even with ChatGPT, and practically all modern LLMs today can write code, and this is part of their way to make reasoning, etc., etc., etc. And you cannot train a good, powerful LLM without coding, and the opposite. If coding is not inside, its abilities to solve multi-step problems will be limited. But that's not quite interesting. This is how ChatGPT can build the same thing. I will save some time, we will not show all of this, but for example, quote. In quote, you just write the prompt, okay, and it builds something which is technically a React component, but this is for hackers only, and that's the software. But this is quite limited because it's first single file, and if it's something more complicated, this will be too complex to fit in one file. Also, it doesn't have a database, it doesn't have access to external APIs, it doesn't have backend, etc., etc., etc. But still, this works in the browser, and your mom can do it without asking you. But you have similar in Grok. I will not show you. I'll share my slides for later. And the next step is Google AI Studio and tools like this, which can build multi-file apps. If you can build multi-file apps, this is quite more powerful because you can create something bigger and something more massive. So this is an app which consists of several files, not just one single file. And the next steps are the so-called end-to-end development platforms for vibe coding, like Bolt, Bolt.new. There are many other companies called Bolt. One of these is like Uber. You take cars on shared rides. But Bolt builds web and mobile apps through a sequence of AI prompts. And I already made a demo how this happens, but I will make at the end of this session more complex demo to build a more complex app with users, authentication, with database. I will publish this live in internet, etc. So it generates web front-end apps with technologies like React, TypeScript, and modern tech stack for front-end development, and mobile apps with exploit React Native, which makes native apps with these and deploys them in the App Store, for example, in Apple App Store. So you can add and edit functionality with additional prompts. So you have a first prompt and then say, please change this, I don't like it. Like in ChatGPT, if you tell ChatGPT, please write a poem about Nakov and Softuni and his vibe coding session in NDK, he will do something and you can say, please change this, I don't like it, he will change it. So you can iterate many times. The same way you can build software with vibe coding. So these platforms usually have some kind of database support, because if you want to build software, usually it process some kind of data and it stores users' data. For example, the users and the passwords, for example, some kind of data like invoices, like payments, like whatever, and you need some kind of database. Additionally, sometimes you need some external APIs, like for example, if you want to accept payments, you need a Stripe's integration or some other tool to collect payments. Usually you need some kind of app publishing, which means that you want to deploy the app somewhere. Like if you create a website, you need a hosting, right? You purchase a domain, a hosting, you run usually PHP and WordPress or some other platform like Wix, but if you build a vibe-coded app or vibe-coded website, you can deploy this in Bolt or in similar platforms. So the not so good news are that the free plan is not good. You can just try a few up to five prompts and that's it. You need to pay that later, but this is usual. It's expensive to build apps with these technologies because it consumes a lot of tokens. One request is something like 50,000 to 1,000, sometimes 20,000 tokens. So 1 mega token, 1 million tokens on the flagship models like Watt, Sunet 3.5, for example, costs $15. So it's not so cheap to do it, but on a paid plan, you can manage to build a software for $20, for example. For example, if you want to build a map and to report where the lights on the streets are not working properly here in Sofia, you can build this app in 2 hours, and it will cost less than $20. And this is from the idea to the working, fully functional, published market up on the internet. So maybe you have watched in the television how kids were built something very interesting, etc., etc., etc. In the past, that was really a hero action. But now, normal people like you or your mom or your grandmother can build it as well. It's extremely easy, extremely. So both is one of the most popular tools. And I will now demonstrate something more complex in order to see that the process is not always quite straightforward and it doesn't work so well every time. So what we will do now is to start a new app. I'll go here and we'll take this prompt, which is much complex. I will run it. I have 15 million tokens, which on the market price, 1 million tokens costs $15. How the math runs, I don't know, but these are real quote Sonet 45, sorry, tokens. But let's start building and I will explain what I'm trying to build. What I'm trying to build is easier to show. I want to build a map, and when I click on the map, I can show you something. I log in with some user, for example this. After I log in, I can go somewhere, for example here in Veliko Trnovo, and say something that here is a big orange coffee and it costs 4 leva and it's quite good coffee, for example. Now it's saving this in the database. I don't know why it's so looks like it doesn't work, or maybe they have put the database on hibernation because if when it's not to save some resource. Maybe, I'm not sure, but so if you click somewhere on the table, it shows you the place with this. So this app, if someone in the lab here is a developer, it will take a few days if you are very good front-end developers, if you write it letter by letter, and it will take you maybe a few weeks if you are a junior developer to build, because it has many things: front end, back end, it has authentications, users, it has database, etc. So let's see what happens now. I want to be a coffee price mapper, and I have described I want to click on the map to put pins with location plus title, price, command, etc., etc., etc. I want users logging and see what happens. Now the agent creates a plan, creates a sequence of steps. This is the same thing which happens when experienced developers tries to build this software. He makes a plan. I will create a database, then I will build the authentication components, then I will create the forms. If this is, for example, React app, I will need a React component, which is for login form, registration form, logout functionality. I will need to insert an interactive map. I will need to find some kind of library for this, like Leaflet or Google Maps or whatever, OpenStreetMaps. And later I need to build a locations table with add-edit functionality. This add-edit dialog should be, for example, in separate components with pop-up dialogs on separate pages with React Router or some other technology. This is quite technical. A lot of technical things happen here now silently. It's not quite fast, but it does a lot of work. This is like, for example, if you put ChatGPT in thinking mode and you want to make a research, for example, the pharma industry about something. it will need to open 1,000 websites to collect the information inside, to think, to ask questions, to etc. It's normal to take time. Maybe in the future it will be faster, but now this is how it works. And usually, because this problem which I gave, this project, is not quite trivial. It's not just 200 lines of codes. It's something like 3,000 or 5,000 lines of code, something like this, in this size. And usually it will not start from the first shot. It will need refining and more additional prompts. But basically, the agent created a plan and follows it very, very well. Now trains the application model form, implemented the main app component. Now he is building the app to see if there are syntax errors. Later, after building, he will now write a report what happened. I built this. It tells me, and now it will run the app. Now I'm waiting for the app to run. It's not quite fast because this runs a JavaScript runtime environment inside the browser. Technically, it runs Node.js in the browser, which is a big hack, and it's not the most efficient way to program in JavaScript, but it works. And this is how this platform runs. To save server-side resources, it transfers everything in your web browser. So looks like it doesn't work. So the first bug is that the map didn't appear. The map is not showing. So if you have developer skills, developers will click F12 and we'll see these errors and we'll start to analyze what happens. But we assume we don't have developer experience, so we'll do it the business way, the newbie way, the way like your mom will do it. This doesn't work, fix it. That's what I say. And the AI agent is now reading the errors. So it has access to the JavaScript console and will see the error messages and will analyze them. And he thinks that the problem is in the map component. I also think that it's somewhere around the map component because the map is missing, right? So it should be bug in the map component, logically. And now it decided to edit some of the files in order to fix the problem. I don't know what's inside this. I can see if I'm a technical person, I can go here to see what happens, background images, many things are there. But basically, it makes changes, tries to fix the bug and the problem I found, and will build again the project and will again refresh the page and let's see what happens. Now, looks like the map is loaded, but this is not Bulgaria, right? So I will take a screenshot now and we'll see this is not Bulgaria. I can say, oh, dude, but it's not interesting if you say you are, if you deal politely or the opposite. So please, the best way is just to do it the shortest way you can. Some vibe coders usually attach a microphone and some kind of speech recognition engine to this, and they just use the microphone, or some environments have microphone in order to be faster. But it takes quite more time to work on your command than the time you need to write your command. So I don't feel there is quite a lot of value to use microphone. I don't use it. I write text. And I usually try to provide, because I'm a developer myself, I'm trying to provide some technical information. Now, something doesn't work. Still, the map is not displaying Bulgaria. and I will show a screenshot. I will attach the screenshot and we'll send this. I can, of course, do something. It says that Supabase is not there. Also, it says that you can watch what happens here. Connection refused on these coffee occasions. The SVG doesn't look like Bulgaria at all. But I don't want an SVG. See what happens. It's sometimes stupid. Sometimes it's more stupid than a junior developer. And sometimes it's quite smarter than a junior developer. Sometimes it's even much more smarter than even a mid-level developer. And the expectations are that 1 year later, it will achieve the level of senior developers. But I have done this project at home twice, and every time it has different bugs. I will show you because I don't have so much time to wait for this to happen. But see, the first time it created something and it had a bug. The first thing is that it didn't use OpenStreetMaps or something like this. Maybe I need to give him some prompt like this. Also later he did this bug. The map was overlapping the UI. The z-index was incorrect. And I needed to fix it, and few other bugs like this, the database was not correctly implemented the safe in database logic, etc., etc., etc. But after a few things, I need geographical map. Are you stupid? I think one day, when the robot era comes, the robots will remember this. And will come to me and say, do you remember how you behaved with me? So now is the first time this app understands that it needs a geographical map and not image, how to say, drawing of a map. And this is how it works. So in the same time, to not lose time, I will continue ahead with my slides. So you always require additional prompts unless your app is extremely simple. But this works. And if you are a good engineer, you can split up to many small steps instead of giving a big prompt. AI, not only for development, works always better if you have small input, small prompt, small task, and it works better than if you have very long prompt with 20 tasks. If someone of you is building AI agents, for example, automation of invoicing, for example, when you take an invoice by email, to parse the invoice, to take the data from it with OCR, then to put it in the database, to check for duplicates, etc., etc., etc. This is AI automation, which is extremely modern. I have a company which does this here. If you do this, you know that you need to split this big problem into several smaller problems, because if you have small problem with direct instructions, the AI works very well. For example, if you say, this is the invoice, give me the company name. Any LLM will cope with this. But if you say, take the invoice, see if there is attachment. If there is attachment, take the attachment. Now, take from the attachment these 20 fields, put them in the database, later check if they are duplicates, etc. And this will fail. This is so if you build software, just split it into smaller steps and it will run better. For example, I can say, please create, show a geographical map. First step. Second step, show Bulgaria. Next step, make when I click on the map to appear a pin UI which creates a pin. Later, connect a database. So if I split this into steps, it will do the job from the first time, but in many iterations. So this is what happens typically and how this works. And I made already the demo, and I have to say a few more things about these vibe coding platforms. There are lots of vibe coding platforms, and some of them are quite better in some scenarios and are weak in other scenarios. For example, Bolt and Lovable are extremely good in front-end apps. If you want to build a web app, like the example today, they are very good. But if you want to build a WordPress theme or WordPress plugin, they cannot do it because they only code in JavaScript. This is hard coded with that. They cannot run PHP. So V0 is only front end. It's very good because you can put here a Figma design and it makes that running from the Figma design. So if you have a new UX expert to create your Figma prototypes, he can turn the Figma prototypes into live running app. Replit is the most powerful platform which I know from this class. Vibe coding. Yesterday, I started WordPress in Replit. It was interesting journey. It told me I can't code with PHP, but I will find a way to do it. Installed PHP. Then I told him install WordPress. He told me I don't know how, but I'll find a manual. He found a manual about installing WordPress, followed the manual, installed the WordPress, it didn't run. Then he told me I need to replace the MySQL database with Postgre because I don't support MySQL. Replace with some kind of plugin. Then a few other bugs, and in 20 minutes and $4.86 on my budget, I had running WordPress, and I was already writing WordPress plugins just with prompts. So it's something you can use in production. Another attempt for this is Firebase Studio. The best thing is that it's free. The bad thing is that it's running Gemini on the background, and Gemini is not the best tool for, it's weak. Gemini 2.5 is weak. We are all waiting for Gemini 3 to see if we'll catch up, but it's still the weakest from OpenAI, and Anthropics works better. So if you want to learn more, I run a Vibe Coding Academy end-to-end courses where I spend quite much more time to teach you how to do this. But this is not so important. Let's see what happens if this succeed to... I replaced the SVG with real interactive leaflet map. Oh, nice. Let's see. But looks like it doesn't load. Or the app doesn't work. The app doesn't load. I see white screen. Usually we see white screen when there is a syntactical error. Now, if the bot is smart, he will add an error handling, and he will add a way, if there is an error message, to display this error message on the screen. Because typically apps, when they have a problem, they say, I have a problem, and don't fall silent, like it happens now. So I can, if I'm an experienced developer or experienced web coder, I can just write a prompt. Please add error handling. This is something from my cheat sheet. If I explicitly say add error handling and display the error details, it will be easier for me if there is a bug or a problem which prevents that from starting or from working properly. I will see what happens. Now it displayed loading, and okay, add error handling. So I want to see, you can write in Bulgarian or Chinese or whatever language, but I prefer English. Now, to see the error messages on the screen. And now it will add the error handling, and I will see exactly what happens, because otherwise I need to be a developer to open the developer console and see what happens. Looks like there is a error in the map component, but so this is how this technology works, and it's really a revolution, really, because now founders can test ideas in minutes or one day or a few hours, from zero to working up. It's ours. I vibe coded in one demo for 2 hours an app which had users, roles, admin panel. Users were posting recipes online with images, and someone needed to approve them because otherwise they can post invalid or stupid things or porn images, for example. So you should avoid this. And I bycoded all of this with admin panel, with users, with visitors, with images, with database, with everything, Wi-Fi internet working for 2 hours. This is the graduation projects from students at SoftUni before the AI era, who learned how to create software for 2 years, and this was their diploma thesis to build such a platform. And it's something like 10,000 lines of code, and it takes 1 month for a good students to cope with this problem. Now I make this for 2 hours. So this is extreme change. Now, writing software is not something slow and expensive. So you as entrepreneurs can experiment and test ideas every day. It will cost you $20 for subscription to one of these platforms. Of course, this cannot be your production software, but this is excellent MVP. So it takes a lot of time, and I'm not sure I have more time. So I will be open for questions, but maybe I will manage to publish this up in the next few minutes.
All right, thank you to softuniglobal. Any questions?
Wow. Someone is already vibe coding here? Yeah. Oh. Do we have developers here? Wow. A lot of developers. So now now I have developers will know how important a stack trace is, because it explains what the problem is and where exactly it's located.
We have a question.
Okay.
A question that might be relevant to the entrepreneurs here. You mentioned that this is good for MVP but not for production. How do you transition from a validated MVP that's vibe coded to the real production app that you want to build?
Yeah, very good question, because in the beginning phases of a startup, you want to try many ideas, because probably your first idea will fail. Your next 20 ideas will also fail. And the 21 idea, number 21, will get some traction. If you create a registration form with a payment link for something, some product, and you see that people want to pay, this is a good sign. So now it's time to make this more professional. So you can proceed the old way, to find a technical co-founder, one way, or to find a vibe coding agency, which will take you 5,000 euro to build the entire app. If someone requests more than 5,000 on normal app with 10 to 20 screens, now this is expensive. Yes, I know, I see software developers here, but that is the new reality. And be happy that you still charge your customers the old way. This will end soon. And of course, this doesn't work for all the projects. It doesn't work for 10 million lines of code project, which is made 10 years ago with old technologies, with a lot of dependencies, without documentation. It doesn't work the same way. But see, now we have something which works. So I'll try to register. The zip order. Fix Z index. The map is shown above the UI. And I will, it's good to give screenshots when it's possible. So yes, something happened with the pasting the image, but yes, you can combine the old way and the new way, but basically, if you have modern developers from the new era, they will definitely use vibe coding, but in the professional way, AI-assisted development. And they will make a solid architecture, solid things, but still they will make changes from now to few hours later, not for the next week. Anna, do we have time for one more question?
So I've been vibe coding for a little over a year. I'm a business guy. So I've essentially replaced all the senior developers. So I think that what you should share with the audience here is what's going to happen to this huge buildup of developers in Bulgaria. How can they adapt and what they should do? My personal advice was start understanding business logic because in Bulgaria we have a little bit more sophisticated talent. So if you apply the business logic and you transition from development to applying business resources, automation, you have a chance to succeed. So how do you think it's going to affect the economy? Because you've trained a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now all these people are jeopardized in their job. How do you see this impacting Bulgaria's markets of this market? Perhaps this would be a
short answer is that developers should upgrade their skills, otherwise they will lose their job. And this already happened. For example, a company lost their front-end team, which was 20 people here in Sofia. One of my students told me, AI took my job. Yeah, exactly. So they need to update their skills and cooperation with business, dealing with UI, making all of these roles like database administration, for example, DevOps and deployment, continuous integration, QA and test automation, things like working closely with the customer, working on the product development on the business side. This is already the new thing that developers should do. Developers no longer write code. They write code and solve problems because there are problems. And sometimes problems are not solvable by UI, by AI. Sometimes. In most cases, it's about prompting, and you should learn prompting well. But developers should learn how to do all the technical work. A former developer now should be a CTO. So a CTO of a company does something. He has a team of 5 developers. He makes the architecture. He thinks about the database, about the QA, about the deployment, about the DevOps, about the cloud, about the expenses, about everything. Now, this is one person, only one, and he has AI agents who do the job. I think now it's fixed. Yeah, I can register. Wow. And now by one can log in. He is logged and he can create a pinning. It's not working. So I need another prompt. Please fix this. But you see how this happens.
One last question.
Okay. So I'm a developer and I'm using some micro and I mean they're really looking some standard stuff like building cooperation applications, but if they need something that it's not so popular as a concept, they fail but at least they help you with the boring things. So,
Yeah.
do you think that now the industry will shift a lot? And,
It will.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
they will basically help with the boring things, and you do the real engineering, which was the problem with many developers in the past.
I will show you what happens, and I think this prediction is very good. Do you know this AI 2027? This is a website which is done by scientists, futurologists, who want to say what happens. This was published in April. So in May, they talk that coding is amateur level. And in May, it was true. But now we are the end of 2025, and coding now is going to reach the human pro level. Few years later, it will be superhuman level, which means at least senior developer level. And a few other years later, it will be, the AI is expected to be better than all software engineers in the world. Why this happens with the chess? Do you know? Now, a stupid AI is quite better than the world chess champion. Not quite stupid, but an average, not the best AI in the world. This is what is coming, which means that it will not take your job because someone should stay at the business side. He cannot write itself the requirements. He cannot make a phone call with the customer and make a web demo on Zoom. Maybe this is coming later, but we are not there already. So developers like you initially will just write in ChatGPT. I have a friend who has 30 years experience as software engineer. One day he called me, Nakov, how you deal with, I have 200,000 lines of code in ChatGPT, and it's working very slow. And I told him install Crossroads or some AI-assisted development tool, because he told me the scroller is moving very slowly because it's too much, 100,000 lines of code in one prompt in ChatGPT. So people will learn how to use these tools, but this is the first phase. Later, tools will improve. Like, for example, if you use Cursor, but you don't use augment code, for example, you are far behind, because augment code is quite more better on complex systems, on systems with million or more lines of code. And later, the agents are becoming better and better. In the past, they were just writing the code, but now they are configuring Amazon things. They are building Terraform's deployments. They are writing code. They are seeing the logs. They are installing packages. They are patching the kernel. And the latest thing from my friend is that they were decompiling a firmware of cache machine, Kasfoparat, I don't know this in English, sorry. He decompiled this. It was protected code. He didn't have assembler. The AI wrote a disassembler for the machine code, for the binary of the firmware. Then he made changes. He changed the code and wrote the new firmware to fix a bug on existing hardware device. This cannot be done. Maybe nobody in this room can do this. To be honest, I can. But with AI, I can. So this is what is coming. It's improving and improving and improving. And I expect that this prediction is happening. There are other predictions that robots are coming and bioweapons are coming, but this is another story. Okay, thank you for the